Hey, hello. I hope you can hear me well. Please let me know in the comments if anything happened, like you can see me or you can hear me when I'm talking. Uh, Maybe you just see my lips moving, but you don't hear my voice. Um, but I'm going to guess everything's okay. First of all, I want to thank you for being here. We have many people joining us, and I'm going to make a little bit uh, of time before we start to let more people join. We have some comments here already. Hey, Arish, it's Nishu. Hello. So, what are we going to do today? If you register when the global hack week from March started, you may see that these were supposed to be a Bob Ross painting media game, right? But we were talking about it will be exciting to add more like mini events or workshops focused on education or learning. Um, we decided it was a good idea to run a hack the technical interview uh, mini game or mini event. So yeah, maybe the registration page is wrong because some of the descriptions may say Bob Ross painting, but no, this is not going to be a Bob Ross painting session. Today we're going to learn some cool tips, very handy tips, if you ask me, to apply in your next interview, technical interview. And also, we are going to resolve some exercises, not too hard, really, really simple. And we can have a question Q&A session, so I can help you to understand better this process. The video looks paused. Maybe I just will reload. Yeah, same here, same. The audio is broken also. Video is lagging. It's good now. Please change the camera angle. Okay. Maybe because of the light, I can try moving around. Don't worry. Is this better? Okay. I hope this helped. I don't know. Please, again, just post it on the comments. I will need you to be as much as participant as you can here in the comments, especially in the Q&A section. So this will be a better session for all, right? I need to know what questions you have about these technical interviews. Um, if you don't get something or you have questions on a specific theme, uh, just let me know, right? I'm going to start sharing my screen. You're supposed to see it now. So, again, this is hacking or hack technical interview. My name is Alberto. I'm coach here at the Major League Hacking, and also I'm a front-end developer at a startup called Bigo here in Mexico. I'm a mechatronics engineering student, and I'm a photography enthusiast. So if you want to talk about any of these topics, go find me at Alberto47 in any social media. I usually don't uh, use my Twitter, but yeah, you can find me also there. What else? So What are we going to learn today? Again, this is for technical interviews, so we're going to learn the best practice in the technical interviews and how to solve common technical interview questions. Um, there are many algorithms we have to cover to fulfill this, but when I say common technical interview questions, I'm trying to say your questions, not the questions from the interviewer. So if you have questions from the process, uh, this is the time to to share them. Also, we are going to have a little practice on how to solve a real technical interview or a technical interview problem. So, I'm going to read the comments before I start. Um, I have applied for the software eligibility engineering track, how to approach the interview and what to expect. Okay, that's a good question. Um, for the fellowship, I don't know how exactly the process is. I mean, like if you have a technical interview and then a B2B interview or something like that. But this track, like the session today, it's for technical interviews. My guess is it in the fellowship interview you will have one of these. So the approach we're taking here, it will be the same you can take in the fellowship interview. So that's it. In the MLH technical interview, are we expected to answer questions that will be asked from the project we mentioned in our resume? In the technical, probably not, because the focus of the technical interview is to know your technical abilities and if you can code and what's your level in coding. But there are some other interviews in the process that they can ask you about, yeah, your previous experience in the projects and what you did, how you did, and what were troubles you find doing it. So yeah, let's continue then to the technical interview tips. The first tip is that you ask questions. Actually, it's better if you ask questions because this means you are trying to understand fully the the task you were given, right? So if you ask parameter questions like, okay, let's say you were asked to reverse a string, you can ask, hey, can I use a built-in method like reverse, for example, or as it's any other thing I have to understand from this project. There are more limitations, etc., etc., etc. So if you start asking more questions, um, that will be good. Again, because the interviewer will know you are interested in completely understand the problem. Uh, if you have any questions on this, again, it's okay to ask questions. So go to the comment section and uh, send those questions. I'm pretty good in programming and also okay. I'm going to put it here. I am pretty good in programming and DSA, but with little experience in development. What should I work upon? Okay, that's a good question. When I finish going through these slides, I'm going to share you some other tips on how to practice and some resources on where to practice, right? But don't forget a question. I'm going back on that later. The next tip is to plan your answer. If you just start writing code, it could mean two things. Like you really understand it, the problem, and you are already giving a solution, and that's good. But best practice It's the first thing what you functions need to do. Um, and a good tip here is to write some semi code, like open some comments and start writing the things you want the function to do, or the things the algorithm needs to return, or how to do they need to do it, and explain your process. That will give you an advantage because the interviewer will go with you through this process because you're speaking it. You're going like very explicit on what are you doing. So it's okay to write some code. To don't forget or to don't to write down your idea, but start commenting it. It start explaining it. It start also think it for yourself, and then and then talking out loud like what are you doing, right? So that's the tip number two. The tip number three is to start coding and walk through your process, talk to your process, sorry. Um, and then also you can comment the things you're stuck on. For example, you can say like, I know I need to do this, and this is how I do it, but I don't know. I need to join it with this other part that I don't know how to do it. It is not bad to tell what things stop you or what things you don't know. Um, but to externalize it, to again talk through your part, through your process, through your code, it's a very very good practice. And this is because in your head all the train of process of thinking, it's very, how to say it, like it's in your head, right? And just a little bit of that gets directly into your code. But if you start sharing that train of thinking with your interviewer, more of that information that it's in your head will get to the interviewer and not only through your code. So technical interviewers know that that they can't share with you, but you don't know it. And for example, you can say like, I'm stuck in this, and there's a chance, a possibility, they can say to you like, oh yeah, you're forgetting this function that helps you resolve that, or you're forgetting this variable does not go along with this other type of variable. That's a possibility, and you can get help from them. That's cool. So even if they cannot give you the answer, they can give you a hint that gets you closer to the answer. So yeah, uh, that's a very good tip. Next tip is to refactor. So once you're done with your code and you are satisfied with the thing you built, try it and try to see what you can improve of it. Like you can make a pause, think about what you've done, and say, okay, I think doing it this fast with the pressure of resolving this make me do this error that, or maybe not an error, but this code that could lead to an error, and I could prevent them changing this parameter or changing this thing or changing this other thing. And again, talk it out loud, walk through your think of process, um, and share it with the interviewer. So you can say like, yes, I completed, the this fulfill all the requirements, but I think I could do it better, and I think I could change this. And even if you don't have time left to really change it, just taking a pause to think that you can change something and express it to the interviewer will give you again an edge in the interview. The tip number five, and this is before, sorry, after you already refactor it or you already said like what you can change to improve it. So some companies actually take a higher value on your ability to explain your answer that the ability to do or to resolve the problem. Because if you're not able to communicate with your developer colleagues or the person you're working with, you probably be a very good programmer, a very good um, technical ability person. But yeah, again, the ability to talk it, to express it, and to make other people understand what you are doing, uh, it's really important. So take some time to go to all projects, go to algorithms you already done, to problems you already completed, and try to explain it to a not technical person or to an I don't know, a friend, an animated thing like a, a doll, duck, but explain it. Do that exercise. Try to explain it, and if the well, in this case, it has to be a person. But if the other person understand what you were trying to do and how you resolve it, even if he is or she is not a technical person, um, that will be really good because it means you can explain your your solution, right? The last one, the this is a very handy tip. The tip number six is watch your time. This is really hard for most people because they tend to take a lot of time um resolving the problem, or or other people tend to take a lot of time improving the result, right? Refactoring, and they have no time left for explaining the answer or no time left for walking through the process to the interviewer. So this is really up to you how you manage your time, but watch it. Don't lose the track of time. And one possibility for you, it's for example, take 10% of the time you have to plan the answer. No coding, just again start thinking of it, start answering, asking some questions to the interviewer, and then take 50% of the time to implement the answering. So in this point, you already spend 60% of the entire day, right? You have 40% left. Break it into parts. 20% to refactor it if you can. Again, if you don't can, if you do not can, just explain to the interviewer how you do it, what you think you could do better, and take the other 20% left to discuss your answer, to explain what you did, and to talk with the interviewer about everything that you think during the whole process that you could not express before. Yeah, a lot of information, right? There are just that six tips, but there are very, very, very handy tips. For those ones who already have your technical interview before, try to think about the result of your interview and how to applying these tips will change that result. Let me check the comments to see if you have more questions. Um, so I'm guessing getting a hand on DSA, it's better for clearing the technical interviews. Oh, and I think you're answering to the comment before that. Do we need to learn common algorithms to pass technical interviews? I usually come up with my own solutions that are different from the common algorithms, but they can be inefficient. This really depends because, as you said, you can come up with your own solutions. Yeah, the thing is there are inefficient. There are technical interviews that efficiency is like the main thing. It depends on the company, but I will say also it depends on the position you are applying to. For example, on my own, when I applied to my previous work, efficiency was not such a big deal. Like, okay, you resolved it, that's good enough. They don't ask me about like how you could do this more efficient. Yeah, but that's my experience. There are other experience I've heard like they resolved the problem, but very in a very inefficient way, so they were rejected for that. So for the question, do we need to learn common algorithms to pass technical interviews? I would say you don't, but it is better if you do, because as you said, you can pop with your own solutions, but you tend to see that those solutions were made for others before. So it's like trying to discover fire again in every single technical interview you had. If you want to keep doing that, it's okay, but it will save you a lot of time if you do learn some common algorithms before the technical interviews. Um, so, what's the number four again? Let's go back. Number four, it is important to refactor. Remember, and let's go back to the one. Ask questions, plan your answer, start code, but while you're coding, talk through your process, refactor. If you cannot actually refactor the code, express what you could do better, explain your answer, and finally, watch the time. That are the six steps, these six tips to go to a successful technical interview. And let's apply them. Yeah, let's pretend we are on a technical interview, and we are asked to resolve the FISFAS problem. For those one to now know the FISFAS problem, here's the instructions. Write a function that take a single input, a number, and it prints out one through the number. If the number being printed it's divisible by 3, print fizz instead of the number itself. If the number being printed it's divisible by 5, print fuzz instead of the number itself. If the number being printed is divisible by 3 and 5, print fizz fuzz. I see a comment. It is okay knowing all common algorithms by heart without fully know them how to work, kind of like copy and paste it. Lol. Um, Let me think of that. I would say like no, because yeah, no, I don't think this could work, to be honest, because it is not that simple as, hey, they will ask you to run this common algorithm. You will have to identify what algorithm could help you resolve the problem you're asked to resolve. Um, and yeah, just trying to copy and paste the formula for the algorithm won't work. To be honest, you need to understand what what the algorithm is doing. Uh, I know there are a lot of algorithms. I know this is hard, and you may probably not be applying this in your actual work, but that's the thing. um, that this is how it works. So I do think knowing the common algorithms will make you a better programmer. And if you try to implement them in your actual code at work, you will do a better performing uh, project. So yeah, study algorithms. That's my advice. Just try to copy and paste them. So back to the FISFA. Let me check this. So back to the FISFAS project. We will say that, okay, we know now the instructions. So let's apply our first tip. What it is, let's ask some questions, right? So probably some of the questions we can do in this point is, should the function account for wherever the input is not a number? Um, like run a type check on the input. Should the function return anything, or we should just print it? Should the function work with negative numbers? They don't say that in the instructions, right? But we want to fully understand the problem, and that will lead us to a better answer. So these are my questions. What do you ask to the technical interviewer, sorry, for this problem? Come on, give me some questions on the comments. Try to understand this, and what questions can you ask to perform a better answer? I'll give you some time. Come on. Let's wait for two questions here on the comments, and then we can move on. Uh, I'm trying to think like until what number? I don't know, like what size the input could be. Okay, good, thanks. We have two questions. First question is, I will ask if the number n should be printed. Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good question. Um, Question from Himashima. What are the constraints on input number? Yeah, right. Like the example I was talking about. Like I can accept negative numbers, what size they are, etc. Okay, more questions. That's cool. What if it's not divisible by 3 or nor by 5? Good question. And maybe this is kind of not that good explained on the instructions. But yeah, that's a good question too. Will we like a specific type of input? Exactly. Good questions here. Yeah, I was talking about like it's in the instructions, but you can ask that too. It's okay. You want to completely understand it. So we have our questions, and then we can start planning or answer based on the feedback the interviewer give to us, right? So I was talking to you about the pseudocode uh, on the comments. So you do not actually code. You just open some comments and start typing what you need to do and how you need to do it and what you want the functions to return, what you want the functions to receive, etc., etc., etc. So here we have the schema. We call the function should take one parameter, then check if the element is divisible by 3. If yes, we should print this. Otherwise, we should check if the element is divisible by 5. If yes, we print false. And if it is divisible by both 3 and 5, we should print this false. Otherwise, just print the numbers that is they ask about. And let's move to actually writing this solution. How do you write this solution? You can write it in whatever code you want. Uh, so I don't. I will give you 3 minutes. This is no, don't worry. I'm thinking. I don't know if it is a good idea. Can you share the link to the presentation? Of course. At the end, I'll share with you. I don't know if it's a good idea to start writing in on the comments, but yeah, let's do that. Write on the comments your solution, like define a function and how we print the these things on the console. I'm using Python because I think it's the fastest way now. You can use JavaScript again, whatever uh, language you want. Ready? Are you writing a solution right now? I will share mine with you. Oh, this didn't respect the indentation. Let me copy and paste it on a code pen and share my screen with you. Sorry about that. Okay, you're seeing my code pen. Uh, but this doesn't work for Python, I think. Um, I'm going to open then Carbon. Yeah, this is my solution, right? And what we can see here, we define the FizzBuzz function, and it accepts a number. That's our input, right? And then for the range of the number, I want to go from from one to the number to see if the number is divisible by 3, then by 5, and then by vote. If one of those cases it's good, I'll print, for example, by if it's divisible by 3, I print first. If it's divisible by 5, I print first. Else, if it's divisible by both 3 and 5, I'll print first. So if you see, it's really just the thing uh, we were talking in the semicode here, right? Um, let's just return to this planning of this pseudocode, and just the things in the comments are explained on the actual code, right? So we plan our answer, we write our answer, and now the fourth tip again, it's important to refactor. Um, did anyone of you see what was wrong with the code? Let me share with you the code again. This is my code. How can I change it to have a better performance? What can I improve of this code? That's the answer. Sorry, that's a question. Again, I will give you some time to think about it. No? Any hints? Okay. In this control flow structure of the function checked if a current number is divisible by 3, and then if not, if it's divisible by 5. Uh, the program prints fees and moves to the next number, and if it's divisible by 3 and 5, it prints fees first. Um, so a problem here is that, for example, if a number is divisible by 3, it will not get to 5. You see why not? So it can never be print this fast. Let's see. If the number is 15, just go to the if statement. You can include the common condition inside the if else. Yep. Uh, what about you're multiplying by 3 and 5 2 times. Okay, I have a solution here in C++, I think it is, or C sharp. I don't know how to uh, see the difference between those two. But yeah, so I told you about the problem of my code. Um, we have no time to explain or to refactor, right? So I'll just explain. Okay, in this structure, I have a problem here because I don't get to the final answer, sorry, to the final statement or fifth fast, because first uh, it pops to the if, and then if go to the return section. I could change it, and that will improve the code, right? That's very simple. That was everything. Now we just need to explain the answer, and this is just if you that did it before, but we explain the code while we were typing it and while we're thinking of the solution. So in this point, you already complete all the tips because also you watch out the time. Didn't you? I talked you about the. We don't have time to actually refactor this. Uh, oh, we have a question here about what does the Go F seed do? That's my code. That's a good question. And this is actually something the interviewer could ask you. Um, let me. Sorry, I have many tabs open. Yeah, here. You mean like in the return go FC speed, right? Um, oh yeah, I don't know what does that do. Let me try to where to get. Yeah. I can just take this out and it will return nothing. Yeah, thanks for the correction in there. So this is the final code. Um, so what comes next? These were my example with my code of fast and my solution to that. It's your turn. I'm going to put you a problem here. I want you to find the maximum value in a list, in an array, in a vector, right? So let's pretend you have six numbers: one, two, three, four, five, and six. The maximum value in that list is six, but it gets more complicated when they are not in order, right? Let's say you have 11, 13, 14, 20, 6, and 2. The biggest number of the maximum value is 20. How could you find that maximum value? Okay, I present you the problem. Now you need to present me your solution. Again, think of the tips. Tip number one: start asking some questions. So you need to find the maximum value in a list. That's the problem. What questions you have about it? Ask me in the comments. I'm your interviewer. Tip number two: start planning the code before actually writing it. Then write your code. In this scenario, you could not explain it to me, so you have to explain it at the end. It's important to refactor, think of what you could improve, think of what can you do better, and now explain the answer to me because you could not explain me through your process. I'm not with you. And remember, watch time. You have 10 minutes for this. I'm going to put some music and I'll be answering the questions in the comments. Constraints, is the list sorted? No, it is not. Constraints and data types. Uh, let's say in this scenario, you're taking a high level language as Python, so it doesn't matter the data types. You just want numbers, the type of number. If you're using another language, a C, and you want to know if it is a float or an integer, to make it easier, just pretend they are all integers. Let's work just with integers here. Oh, you didn't ask, but I do want the function to return the maximum value. So the function should receive a list, an array of integer numbers, and return the maximum value of the list. Awesome. That's a key question here because, yeah, for example, in Python, you could just use max, but no. The answer for this other question, can I use built-in functions? It is not. You could not use built-in functions. You have to do it all by yourself manually, not building functions. For these questions, you could use whatever language you want. The current question is find, no, sorry, the current task is find the maximum value of a list of integers and return it. So that's it. I will give you one more minute because I saw some of you already get it. But don't worry, don't feel pressure. If you're having trouble with this, it's totally okay. I'm going to walk through my solution on this. And yeah, I don't want to make this a very long time for you all. So let's wait one more minute. And remember, I want to close this session with a Q&A section. So, oh yeah, sorry, I got distracted by one comment. But yeah, I want to close with a Q&A section. So if you have any questions on technical interviews or what we learned today, post it on the comments, and I'll be very glad to try to answer them. So yeah, this was my solution, my previous one. And this is my solution now. Oh, why I put this was no. I want my solution for the maximum value. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I need a function to receive a list of integers and return the maximum, the max value. So I received the list. If there's no list, I return no. This is do my refactor because I thought like, hey, what if I get no list? The constraints didn't say I could receive an empty list or not a list. So yeah, I could protect myself from that error just going here. If no list, return none. And set a max value through the first value of the list, and then for every single value in the list, I checked like this next value is greater than the one I had before. If it is, I could save that value, if that new value in the max value. And when the cycle is over, I just return the max value. And that's it. That's how I can resolve it. Many of you give other amazing answers. For example, this one, uh, which it's pretty similar. Actually, it's I think the same. Uh, but I promise I don't get it from you. I did not copy and paste you. But it's very a common answer. In solution, you have vector. Okay, very good answer, people. So let's pass to the questions and answers. Any question you have with technical interviews at all? What do you think of this mini event? You like it? You find it handy for your next technical interview? Do you think we can do better? What you would like to see in next technical interview uh, prep mini event? Give us some comments, give us some feedback about this. We're doing an effort to give you the best we can. Um, so yeah, let's let's hear your questions. Let's hear your feedback. No? Can you take my initial question about what should I do if I'm not into development? Oh, sorry, I didn't see it before. I didn't see it. Sorry. So if you're not into development, the question will be, what are you into, and why should you be doing technical interviews? I didn't get it. Like you're more into what? Start with a naive solution, then think about complexity and big O and when you optimize. Yeah, this is a really good advice. Thanks. Um, if you, oh, okay, in general, okay, I get you. But before that, talking about the big O and complexity and everything, uh, again, start studying algorithms. I won't say that I'm a master in algorithms, but knowing some bases, knowing like the basics of it, will help you go smoothly through the technical interviews. And yeah, it will make you a better developer. You're good in programming in general. So, what should you do? Like the path of learning? Yeah, I think I'm not getting your question, but I'm very sorry about that. But if you mean like, should you be doing technical interviews, or should be studying, or what should be you should be studying? Sorry. Um, go further with that. What if I'm not good in programming, but really bad in non-technical interviews? Ooh, why you're not good in not technical interviews? Like the process of talking to people? Hi. Okay. Let's say you're not too good in technical interviews. I'm just talking right now for technical interviews. How could you improve? Let me present you my screen. You should see it now. You can type on Google HackerRank. HackerRank is a platform where you can get the skill of answering technical interviews because a lot of enterprises actually uh, do their technical interviews here. Uh, there are examples. For example, here you can go and make yourself an account and start resolving problems, just like the FISPAS we go before, or like find the maximum. Uh, they support many languages. They have a lot, but really, really a lot of algorithm problems, uh, resources of how to learn, etc. And another page you could visit, it's exorcism.org. Exorcism.org, same as HackerRank, have a lot of supported languages and a lot of tracks about how to resolve technical interviews. My next recommendation is LeetCode. LeetCode, it's really cool, actually. They also have like a playground if you want to write code in the web. Uh, you can execute code. You can resolve technical interviews here also. Another one is Omega Up. Omega Up, it's really cool. So these are my top recommendations for you. I'm going to post them on the channel here. So as my slides before, um, I don't know what else. Are you asking how to get in development or if it's needed? Yeah, I didn't ask it. Okay. Um, so is development needed for maybe a DevOps learning path, let's say? Uh, if you're talking about development, like web development or like app development in general. Sorry, I still didn't get you. I'm very sorry about that. But I do think DevOps should learn development. I will say yes, it is helpful to know programming in general. Yeah, algorithms indeed. A lot of it involves scripting for CI/CD process, and most are moving towards code-first infrastructure. Um, Thanks for answering. If you get a better idea of what the question were, please fill in the comments. Please feel free in the comments to ask. Web dev. Yeah, I do say. I think DevOps should learn something, not being an expert, but yeah, should learn about web development and every developer in general, not just web, not just backend, not just Every developer, every person who codes needs to learn about the algorithms, and the place to learn about algorithms, it's on the pages I showed you before. Uh, Let me just share the links. Remember HackerRank, Exorcism, LeetCode, and Omega. That's the ones I have tried, so I can recommend them. But there are many of them. Uh, if you want to post the ones you know in the comments, that would be great. Thanks. How much question per day would you advise persons to take regularly? Okay, that's a good question. I don't know. I will send. It depends of the amount of time it takes you to answer one question, and let's say no question. Let's say a problem. There are difficult levels on those platforms. So maybe you take a big, difficult problem, and don't feel pressure to resolve it in 30 seconds. But then, if it is your, let's say, if it is your first very difficult problem, the next very difficult problem, the next very difficult problem you take, you should lower the time that it takes you to resolve it. You could take 3 or 5 easy problems per day, and maybe then go for two one or three medium, and then one difficult, and it's up to you. Or the yeah, it's very up to you. Like how many times you want to spend on this. When you look back on some of your interviews, what do you wish you would differently or prepared more for? Uh, I had many technical interviews in which I didn't know the basics. Like, for example, the one who asked me before about copy and pasting, uh, I I didn't say I tried to do that, but I I, I applied with a little a little knowledge of what they were expecting of me, and I just can say if I get to change something about that, it will be more prepared. But it is hard because you get better when you do a lot of interviews. So I will say apply as much as you can, make a lot of interviews, lose the fear of being rejected because that will happen to you a lot, and that is what makes you better in doing technical interviews. Like practice a lot. If you do not want to get rejected, I don't know how to how you can resolve that, but because yeah, you will get rejected. You will. I promise you. Uh, but it get easier with the time and with the practice. Also, you could get prepared more in the language you are learning. You need to understand how the language you are mastering works. That gives you a lot of advantage. Not just knowing about algorithms. Yeah, knowing about algorithms, it's basic, really basic. Start learning about algorithms, but learn about how the language you're using works. not just the syntax, really how it process data, how it manage memory, how it clean, how it do hoisting, do scooping, all those things. Learn your tool, learn the language fully, not just the syntax. And yes, learn algorithms. I know it is different from people and attributes, but in general, okay. Oh, uh, it's time for the next stream. Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I take a lot of time. I hope you like this. See you and give you give you some useful recommendations here. I hope you apply all of them. Bye.